This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Well, good morning. Thanks for getting up with us on this Sunday morning. I'm Tim Gordon. This morning on Sunrise, a debt ceiling deal. The president and Republican House Speaker have reached a tentative agreement. We'll break it down for you. Plus, it's been an issue for several years, but now Metro has a plan for dealing with all those abandoned boats on our area lakes and rivers. But before we get to all that, let's check in with Chris McGinnis for a first look at our Sunday forecast. Chris?
I got to get out of the way.
Check
this out. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Oh, what a shot from our Wells Fargo sky camera. And I would add that the cloud cover this morning is less intrusive than I expected it to be 24 hours ago. So with that in mind, we are off to a mostly sunny start here in town. The live look from Mount Hood, Timberline Lodge, looking up at the crater there. You can see the very tippy top there getting illuminated by that rising sun. We do have some cloud cover the Oregon coast as we take you live to our Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City. But again, here, clouds are a lot thinner than they were yesterday. We can actually see the top of Cascade Head this morning from Lincoln City. So we're in good shape out there this morning. It's 51, last check at PDX. There are some cool pockets like Hillsborough waking up to 43, Aurora 47, and the big picture across the state. Check this out right now. Sun River's at 37. Chilly start there. You'll have a nice recovery this afternoon. All right, here is the plan for today. Brief morning clouds and then just mostly sunny to full sunny all day long here. 68 by lunchtime. I've got highs in the upper 70s this afternoon, and we probably inch a degree or two higher on Memorial Day Monday. We've got that for you in just a few. Beautiful day. Thanks, Chris.
Well, let's start with the big news out of the nation's capital. President Joe Biden and Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy say they've reached a tentative agreement on the debt ceiling with a vote expected this week. So here's a look at what the deal includes, according to the New York Times. It imposes caps on discretionary spending that Republicans were after for 2 years. That'll take us past the next presidential election. But the caps would not apply to military spending. Well, the president would need to offset the cost of actions he takes that affects the budget, like forgiving student loans. It imposes work requirements for people getting government aid, like food stamps and temporary assistance for needy families. New funding to the IRS would be reduced by $10 billion, and the environmental review process for certain energy projects would be sped up. Now, it's not a done deal, though House Speaker Kevin McCarthy now has to convince enough House Republicans to vote for the deal, and then it's got to pass the Senate before it goes to the president for his signature. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has warned that without an increase to the debt ceiling by June 5th now, the government would run out of cash to pay its bills. Well, the months-long search for a missing Gresham woman has come to a tragic end. Police have now identified the woman whose remains were found in February, almost 2 months after her family reported her missing. Police say she was 22-year-old Kristen Smith. Thomas Schultz talked with those who live near where she was found.
I tell most people that we live in the nicest part of the neighborhood. So yeah, it's first for here.
Lucas Gonzalez has lived in this quiet Southeast Portland neighborhood for his whole life. He says in February he was driving home when he noticed deputy cars at the intersection of Southeast Deerdorf Road and Southeast Flavel Street. Later, he learned Kristen Smith's remains were found in a field 2 months after she was reported missing. He says that land is owned by the David Douglas School District.
Unfortunate. I think that's really all I have to say about it. It's unfortunate.
The school district did not respond to our request for comment. Portland police are conducting a death investigation to learn how the Gresham woman died. They have not said if Smith's death is suspicious. Gonzalez and other neighbors say this incident makes them more concerned about the state of their neighborhood. They say people have been squatting in fields owned by the school district for years.
Probably late 2019, early 2020, it started to have a bad squatting problem.
Now, they're concerned for their own safety.
We're living kind of diminished and more frightened lives.
Steve Peroy says he's noticed more debris in fields near his home.
I love this neighborhood. I bought this house with the intent of retiring here and dying here. You know, I'm afraid of the forest fires that could happen if people are camping and starting fires that could take out pretty much everything I've worked for all my life.
Peroy says something needs to be done to help people find shelter.
Rents are skyrocketing in this area. Houses are skyrocketing in this area. Some things should be more affordable. Housing's one of them.
And Peroy says he hopes more money is devoted to help people find housing. And at this point, he shouldn't be surprised about what happened in his neighborhood. Well, abandoned boats have been a problem in our area for years now. They're left on the sides of the road or moored in rivers and lakes. Now Metro has a plan to help people get rid of their old boats. They've got a new pilot program that will help cover the cost of boats that aren't seaworthy anymore.
Boat disposal can cost anywhere from a few $100s to more than $3,000, depending on your boat's size and hauling needs. So this program will really help keep our region clean, and it also helps people.
Well, if you need help getting rid of an old boat, go to oregonmetro.gov/boat disposal. Deputies in Washington County are looking for the victim of a road rage fight. They say a man blocked an intersection, punched someone several times in the face, and threatened to shoot them. Well, this all happened Friday night at Farmington and River Roads. A witness got the suspect's license plate, and deputies arrested 21-year-old Carlos Garcia. You see the two cars there. However, they haven't been able to find the person who was attacked. They say the victim was driving a dark gray SUV with Oregon plates. Well, wildfires in Oregon have been especially destructive the past several years. Climate change and record heat are part of the equation, and so are power companies. With that in mind, PGE is talking about its plans to limit the risk moving forward. At Portland General Electric's Sherwood Training Center, new hire apprentices are out working the lines, learning the trade. And inside the center, leaders talked PGE's efforts to manage its grid through wildfire season.
Our wildfire mitigation plan is really to protect people, property, and the natural environment.
But there is also a lot at stake for the major electric utility. A lot of its transmission lines run right through land at risk of burning. So its equipment and ability to deliver power are in jeopardy. Add to that the risk of potential responsibility for a fire start, like Pacific Power is facing in a $1.6 billion class action lawsuit over the devastating Beachy Creek fire of 2020.
This system is actually looking for issues before they become an outage to customers.
Thank you. So PGE showed off some of the new gear they are using, like a high-tech early fault detection system and Ultra HD cameras that use artificial intelligence to pinpoint smoke and fire sources. There are 26 of these cameras, with 6 more to come in 2023. They say it gives them 100% coverage in the areas of greatest wildfire danger, and it works.
This detection was able to provide a 2-hour head start, or would be able to provide a 2-hour head start in many cases for our fire districts to be able to respond to fires.
Along with it, a long-term replacement plan going from wood to iron power poles for resilience and wildfire safety, along with other more wildfire-safe components. PGE is spending tens of millions on being prepared. They hope you'll be ready too, with an emergency kit and a safety plan in case wildfire comes your way.
And I think as Oregonians, as members of these communities, we should all plan and we should all be prepared.
Meantime, one man has made it his mission to improve wildfire safety. He's working on a new design for an emergency shelter that firefighters use. We'll meet him coming up at 6:30. Still to come on Sunrise as well this morning, TriMet is raising fares for the first time in over a decade. The board approved the increase despite pushback from riders and Mayor Ted Wheeler. How much rates are going up and who will be exempt? And did you know you can watch Sunrise anytime you want on KGW Plus? All our news is on Roku and Amazon Fire. All you have to do is look for KGW and add us to your home screen. Then you can stream Sunrise on your schedule. We'll be right back.